Hello everyone! Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'm gonna make some banana bread, so I thought I would bring you along with me. Usually I make banana bread in like a big loaf pan, but today I'm going to make it in this mini loaf pan. I just picked this up and I kind of thought this would be better for lunches and things. Just make a bunch of mini loaves, then I can easily pop them in the kids' lunches and in my husband's lunch, and you know, portion control, all that good stuff. So that's what we're gonna do today. Should be a quick video. It's my own recipe. I've had it for years. I've kind of adapted it, so I will leave the recipe down in the description if you want to make it. If you do make it and you like it, come back and let me know. All right, let's get started. All right, to start off, we've got our really attractive looking bananas here. The recipe calls for 1.5 cups of mashed bananas, but these were previously frozen, so they've been sitting on my counter for a little bit. Doesn't that look super appetizing? They're a little bit watery because they've been frozen, but that's perfectly fine. Now we are going to mash them up. All right, here are our mashed bananas. I just used a fork to quickly mash them up. And we're gonna set them aside, and right now we're going to work on we're gonna cream in some butter and sugar here. I've got 5 tablespoons of butter cubed up here in this bowl, and we're gonna beat them with this, my trusty hand mixer. So I had a feeling this was gonna happen, but you know, it is what it is. I used cold butter instead of room temperature butter, merely because I forgot to take my butter out earlier. So my butter is currently all congealed in here. So I'm just gonna scrape it out, warm it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna add my sugar, and then I'm gonna beat it again. We've got our butter, our sugar, 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. In this case, this is golden yellow sugar because I don't have any brown sugar right now, but this will do just fine. Brown sugar would be better. It'll give you a little bit richer of a flavor, but golden yellow sugar is completely fine as well. Now we're gonna add our eggs. If you are not confident in your egg cracking skills, then you should crack it into a separate bowl and then pour the bowl in here. I don't care that much, so I'm going to crack my eggs directly in here. We're going to use 1 whole egg and 2 egg whites. So here is our whole egg, and do our 2 egg whites. I'm sure all of the pastry chefs are cringing at me right now. You're not supposed to use the shells to do this because you run the risk of breaking your yolk. This recipe isn't very sensitive to that, so if I did break my yolk, it's not really a big deal. Put that in the compost, and 1 more. See, ideally, with clean hands, which I have, I always wash your hands before you start baking. You would just kind of toss from hand to hand because it's more gentle that way. I will spare you the sound of my beaters. I'll be right back. We've got everything all mixed up here. Now I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl, but I want to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla before I forget. 1 teaspoon. Okay. As Ina Garten would say, use real vanilla, not imitation. But I mean, if you use imitation, no one's going to know the difference. I'm not judging. Oh man, I gotta quit kicking this tripod. Okay. My kitchen is not filming friendly. This is no Julian Solomita up in here. Do you guys watch? Oh, you should watch Julian Solomita. That's Jenna Marbles' boyfriend. He basically has turned his channel into like a vegan cooking show. And while I'm not vegan, I enjoy watching his videos. He's such a great, I don't know what you'd call that, filmer. He films wonderfully. He's got such a good eye and a filming aesthetic. He's wonderful. Go check out his channel because his videos are much more aesthetically pleasing than mine are. This is, you know, not Julian quality. not Aries kitchen quality. Anyways, here we go. So we've added our, this is our butter, sugar, eggs, and vanilla. And now we are going to add the banana in here. So we've got our 1.5 cups of mashed bananas, which is roughly 4 bananas. And we are going to add this in here. Mix that all up. I think we are done with this guy for now. Scrape down the sides of your bowl. And then you've got a nice wet, mushy mixture here. So we're going to set that aside, and I'm going to mix up the dry ingredients in a separate bowl to add in here. So we are going to be combining in a separate bowl flour, baking soda, baking powder. We're going to add that in here, and we're also going to add in some heavy cream, and then at the very end we're going to add in some chocolate chips. Let's try this angle. What do we think? It's not great. Let's ignore this sink full of dirty dishes. I got my recipe here because who memorizes recipes? So I need a bowl. I'll be right back. I'm going to use this small mixing bowl here to put in my flour, my baking soda, and my baking powder. So we are going to add 1 3/4 cups of flour, 1 This is a 1/4 cup measure. 2. That's 1/2 cup, and 1 more of these guys. Okay, and now we got our 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. There we go. Oh, and we also need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I'm not gonna pour over top. Have you guys ever done that, where you pour out too much salt, and then you have too much salt in your dry mixture? Lesson learned. I'm not doing that. Okay, I got my things set aside here. I'm just gonna grab a spoon, mix that up real quick. Okay, and we are going to now add the flour into our dry ingredients, but we also need cream. 1/2 cup of cream. Now you should use heavy cream. I don't have heavy cream. I'm going to use 1/2 and 1/2, which I've used many times before. 1/2 and 1/2 works just fine. If you have skim milk or 2% milk, you can also add some melted butter to that to make it a little bit thicker in consistency. I've done that before. It turns out just fine. So here we go. Let's start with some of our flour. And you don't want to mix it too much, just until it's just combined, and not too aggressively so that it comes out of the side of the bowl. And the last of our flour, love it when you get flour on your shirt. Do you ever wear aprons when you're baking? I have a couple aprons, but I never bother to wear them. I should. I don't know why I don't. I think maybe it just seems like such a pain to put it on and take it off. One more thing I gotta wash. Although now I have to wash this shirt, so I don't know. I don't know, guys. Alright. Do the last little bit of our cream. So, now I'm gonna add chocolate chips to mine. That's what me and my household prefers. So what I'm gonna do is I want to flour my chocolate chips before I put them in the batter, because once I put the batter into the loaf pan, I don't want the chocolate chips to sink to the bottom. If you're making muffins or any type of bread where you're adding like berries, nuts, chocolate chips, and you're finding that they're sinking to the bottom, maybe because your batter is a little bit thin, definitely flour them before you put them in, and that should solve that problem for you. So not too much flour, just a little bit. That's maybe like, use a little bit more, like a tablespoon. Tablespoon of flour is good. I'm gonna use a mixture of milk chocolate and semi-sweet chips, and the recipe calls for 1/3 cup, but I don't think I've ever measured. You just measure that with your heart. So, there we go. Regular or semi-sweet and some chocolate, some milk. We're just gonna use the whole thing. A little bit more of the semi-sweet, and then you just kind of toss them in. Ooh, that was too much flour. Too much flour, too much flour. Probably a tablespoon would have been good. I definitely put too much flour in there. That's okay. Instead of just dumping it in, because I've got too much flour in the bowl, I'm just gonna spoon it, so that that extra flour doesn't all get dumped in here. Oh yeah. Alright, so we got those all mixed in. Perfect. Here we go. I don't even know if you can see that. This camera doesn't have autofocus. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm going to add a little bit more flour to this because we need to grease our pan. So, oh, I forgot I had some in here. Oh well, let's use it all. I've got some room temperature butter here, so I'm just going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to scoop some of it on my paper towel, and I'm going to grease my mini loaf pan with it. It's the downside of not doing it in a big loaf pan, is that it's going to take longer. Make sure you get in all the little nooks and crannies. Now that I've got flour everywhere, okay, see that's nice and floured here, except for these top ones, but honestly, I'm over it. It'll be fine. So let's scoop into here. Now, usually this recipe will make a full loaf pan, but because I've never used this mini loaf pan before, I'm not really sure how many it's gonna make. This doesn't, it rises a bit, but not a huge amount, so I don't know. Okay, this, I love this tool, but it's not doing it for me. So I'm just gonna use a spoon. Let's spoon it in here. I opted to fill them up to the top because when I use a big loaf pan, I fill it right to the top. So that's what I've done here. Hopefully it works out. Now I'm gonna pop these in the oven. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna bake it for. When I bake it in a regular loaf pan, it bakes for 1 hour and 15 minutes, but because these are a lot smaller, I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna check on it in half an hour at 350 Fahrenheit, and we'll see how it does then. BRB. Oh yeah, look at these. Don't they look good? I'm pretty stoked about the way they came out. So I filled them right to the top and they rose up a bit like this. So I baked them for 25 minutes and they are perfect. Here are the mini banana breads, the little mini loaves. They turned out great. They taste delicious. Thrilled with it. I like cooking them, or I like baking them this way better than in the big loaf pans. Nice cute little portion size here. So anyways, this video is kind of a hot mess, but we're learning, so I'm gonna put it up anyways. I know some of it's out of focus because I had the camera really far away, and I've discovered that this camera doesn't autofocus when you're filming, so that's fun. So, and because the little screen is really far away and I have not great eyesight, I couldn't tell. But that's okay, I'm gonna put it up anyways because, you know, why not? There's gonna be like 5 people that watch it. So I apologize to you 5 people who have to deal with a little bit of out of focus, but I appreciate you being here and I appreciate you watching me bake banana bread. If you bake some, let me know if you liked it or not. And that's all for today, guys. So thank you for being here. Please like this video if you did like this video, but if you didn't, I understand. And subscribe if you want to. I'm probably gonna try and put out videos every Wednesday and Friday, and maybe the odd video on the weekend, but so far I'm aiming for Wednesdays and Fridays, so we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching.